Hey, what's going on, people, wherever you are watching this? This is my out-of-theater reaction for the new movie coming up soon. Ruby Gillman, Teenage Kraken. Just went to a little bit of an early screening for it here at this Regal Monday Mystery Movie Night that they had. A little kid-friendly movie here. I had seen a few trailers from this movie. Don't really know the director that well. Didn't really know the cast all that well. There's some certain people that pop up, like Will Forte in here, that I've obviously seen in other stuff. But a fairly pretty unknown cast compared to certain animated films, especially like Disney movies or whatever that come out. This is a DreamWorks film. Definitely has a level of gravitas, if you will, that comes with it. DreamWorks has obviously been very successful over the years. Now, I did expect this movie to be pretty good. New idea here, dealing with Ruby Gillman, her family. They are Krakens, and so you have this fantasy element with this movie. And I can say, just, overall, I really did enjoy this movie pretty well. I definitely think, I don't know if it's quite better than the movie Elemental that just came out recently, obviously the new Disney movie. This movie, again, comes out in a couple weeks, I think right when Indiana Jones comes out, so it'll be interesting to see what the reaction is with this. I know Elemental didn't do too well at the box office opening weekend, but we'll see what happens with that. I think this movie is pretty close with Elemental. I liked Elemental a lot. If you saw my out-theater reaction or whatever I put up, maybe. I think this has a good story with it. It's, again, another one of those where, there's a lot of themes in here, a lot of subject matter that you've definitely seen before, plenty, and especially in animated movies. But I thought everything was done pretty well overall. I think the characters you get introduced to, literally a fish out of water story again, where you have Ruby and her family, her mom being played by Toni Collette, which is really cool to see. And really, her family trying to play as humans in the human world, even though they are Krakens. Her mom being very protective over her, not wanting her to go into the water. And so, eventually, of course, what happens? Ruby is going to want to venture out there. So you have that whole element going on here within the story that, you've definitely seen before plenty of times. I did like the family dynamic, though. Her, Ruby, her mom, her dad, and then her little brother. They all had nice little dynamics within them. And then you get introduced to Ruby's uncle and then her grandmama, as they say in the movie, played by Jane Fonda, which is really cool as well. And you kind of have this whole dynamic again where the grandma is kind of going against Ruby's mom, and then Ruby ends up having a little tiff with her mom and wants to go out and learn from her grandma all the special powers that the Kraken can have. And that is one element I did like as well, the way the action was done in this movie, and also some of the lore that they introduced you within this world of the Kraken, and they introduced mermaids and how the Kraken and mermaids have always been going at each other. And I really did like that dynamic as well, and some of the beautiful colors, the luminescence, if you will, with the way the Kraken look, and then the few little mermaids you see in this movie, I thought was actually pretty well done. And they have this really nice, really actually pretty damn well done action scene here at the end of the movie, a little fight that goes on that is a little bit reminiscent of the Little Mermaid, so it's not necessarily something that's completely new and fresh. And they do play on the Little Mermaid as well, little jokes about pertaining to that throughout this movie as well, which was a little bit tongue-in-cheek that I did like as well. Again, I already mentioned Will Forte. He plays this really funny old sea captain who's going after Kraken and mermaid and all different sea creatures and kind of obsessed with it. Pretty much every moment with him is really funny. He has a little crab with him too that kind of was a little reminiscent of Sebastian as well. So a lot of little kind of callbacks, if you will, or whatever you want to say, to the Little Mermaid in this. And yeah, I just thought, it's about an hour and a half long. I think kids are going to enjoy this movie pretty well. Didn't really necessarily blow me away or anything. I did think the animation was beautiful, as usual with most animated movies. It seems like nowadays they're just really just getting to a certain level where it's always amazing. It's just what style is it going to be? And this movie definitely has its own unique style within the animation, and it's just really the story that, there really isn't too much new or fresh, I guess you will say, with the story here overall. But I thought it was all done very well. There were some moments, really a few moments, I will say, throughout this that you have to really suspend your disbelief. They're obviously, these Ruby and her family look completely different than all the other humans are here right by the ocean in this community that they live in. And no one is ever suspicious of the fact that they look completely different than any of these other humans. And that part is it takes them a while, and you're like, come on, wouldn't people realize that they are, obviously Krakens? And there's moments like that throughout this movie where you're like, okay, would this be going on logically right now? But, it's an animated movie, so I think, they probably were like, families are going to suspend disbelief enough for this. But for me, there is moments where it kind of takes me out just a tad there. But anyway, overall, I did enjoy this movie. It is definitely a positive recommendation for me, and I'll definitely go into more of the details on my review that I put up on my YouTube channel. You can go to that in the link in my bio if you're watching that on TikTok or on Instagram, and check that out. But yeah, that'll be it for now. It's my quick out-of-theater reaction, semi-quick, I guess I will say, for Rudy Gillman, Teenage Kraken, coming out June 30th. If you're into it, go check it out. It's a pretty good one.